So this will be a short lesson on how to read notes in bass clef or F clef. So let me start by drawing a couple of staves right here. Of course, you can always use staff paper, but I like to draw my own staff usually. I'll do a couple of them. So you need 5 lines in each staff. You'll notice that my lines are not perfectly straight, and that's okay. This is just for practice. So we have 5 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 4 spaces between those lines, 1, 2, 3, 4. And notes can go on a line, or in a space between the lines. So we can have 5 line notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we can have 4 space notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now a bass clef, also called an F clef often, looks something like this. You want to start by drawing a dot on the 4th line, just like that. And then just go back like this, all the way down. And then you want to draw 2 little dots right there. Okay, let me try that again on the bottom staff here. A dot on that 4th line. And then you want to go back this way. And you need 2 dots like that. And what all of this does, it identifies this 4th line as the F note. That's why this is called the F clef or the bass clef. So this is an F, that's an F. And now your job is to memorize the names of the space notes and the line notes in there. I do have a lesson on how to read notes in the treble clef. I posted that a couple of weeks ago. I'll place a link of that at the bottom. If you have any interest in looking at that, feel free to do so. Now the bass clef is used for lower pitched instruments such as a string bass, double bass, a bass guitar, a tuba. You'll see cello scores written in a bass clef, the left end of the piano, and so on and so forth. Also for singers in an SATB format, you'll have the man's voices written in the bass clef, tenors, baritones, and basses. So here are the names of the notes in the spaces. So I'm going to place the spaces right here. And I'll use quarter notes. It doesn't matter what notes you use, but I'll just use quarter notes for now. Here's what we have. And I explained in the previous lesson that the direction of the stems of each note it's pretty easy to figure out. This is not a rule that is never broken, but we follow it most of the time. If the note is below the 3rd line on the staff, we want the stem to go up. If the note is above the 3rd line, we want the stem to go down. If the note is on the 3rd line, it could go either way. Okay? So here are the space notes, and here are the line notes at the bottom. We'll have 5 of those. Love the squeaky sound of an almost dry marker. There we have it. So here's our line notes. Now I was talking about different ways to memorize these notes in my lesson on the treble clef notes. And I shared my personal opinion that using sentences as a mnemonic device to remember this is probably not the best idea in the long run. Maybe for very young children who are maybe 7 or 8 and might have a hard time remembering this, maybe that's okay. But for the long run, you won't be able to really read this fast if you have to use a sentence every time you look at these notes. What do I mean by a sentence? Maybe some of you don't know what I'm talking about. Let me explain this to you by looking at the space notes. The name of this note is an A, C, E, G. So we have A, C, E, G, and some people prefer using a sentence in which each word begins with that letter. So then by remembering the sentence, you'll remember those letters. For example, in the treble clef, you have F, A, C, E, and people have always done face. It spells face. And then for the lines, you have E, G, B, D, F. And most people use a sentence like, every good boy does fine, or something like that. So if you want to do that, you could. I mean, here we have A, C, E, B. What I've seen people do here is use the sentence, all cows eat grass. I mean, if that helps you, go for it. I just think A, C, E, G, and I just see the picture and I remember that. And the names at the bottom are G, B, D, F, and A. So we have two A's and we have two G's. All right, so we'll have to keep that in mind. If you want to come up with a sentence over here for yourself, you could. I'm not going to do that. I just remember A, C, E, G, E, G, G, B, D, F, A. And I'll tell you something else. The best way to really learn these is by playing them on an instrument. So if you play a treble clef instrument like the violin or the guitar or whatever, I would suggest getting an easy piano book and just read the left hand a little bit, and that'll help you really learn these notes by playing them on an instrument. So the next thing that you want, and by the way, I'm gonna link a blog post on my website with this lesson where you can see more detailed information and more visual stuff and more writing on this topic. So if you want to take a look at a blog post for this lesson, feel free to look for a link at the bottom of the video. The next thing you would have to do is get a blank staff. And again, you can draw your own staff paper. You can use a ruler or not. You can also get staff paper if you want. I'm going to place a link for some good staff paper offers at Amazon at the bottom. I hope you can see that my marker is running out of ink here. So here's my bass clef. There. And now the idea is to write some random notes on there without actually thinking the name of the note. Just draw some random space notes and line notes in no particular order. There. Let's see, we can go there. You can repeat some of them. At some point you're going to end up repeating them. And there. So now I have a bunch of random notes as if this were some sort of song. It's not. I don't know. It doesn't look melodic enough to be a song, but whatever. I have to try it out and see what it sounds like. But then the point is for you to name these notes at first by using the answer key, but then without using the answer key, to the point where you can take something like this in bass clef and just name each note out loud without looking at the answer key. So you have G, D, C, A, F, G, E, A, D, B, G. You might say, why am I going so fast, right? Well, it's actually not that fast, because if you think an actual song, that's not fast for a song. If you go bum 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 bum, it's not that fast. So G, D, C, A, F, G, E, A, D, B, G. I go back to my point about the letters and the sentence words. Forget it. There's no way you're going to be able to do that sentence thing when you have to read the notes that fast. So maybe in the beginning, but eventually you have to get rid of that. So then, obviously, you get your pencil and you check each note. So this is that note, right? G. This is that note. So basically, here are your space notes. Here are your line notes, right? And if the note is sitting on a line, you want to check down here. Don't check here because you'll never find it, right? So this line is that line. G, this is a line. D, this is a space. It's the second space, so it's a C. This is the first space, A. This is a line, F. This is a space, G. This is a space, E. This is a line, A. This is a line, D. I'll just keep going to save some time. So the idea is for you to look at these notes and slowly at first, and then eventually you want to go faster, you should be able to name, this is a G here, to name each note comfortably without looking at the answer key. Okay? This should take you maybe 3 or 4 sessions, I would say. In the first session, maybe you want to just practice drawing maybe your staff, if you don't have staff paper, drawing a bunch of bass clefs. You can take an entire staff and just practice drawing your bass clefs, your F clefs, and then drawing out your answer key. And then maybe that'll be your first session. And then in the second session, you want to draw that again. You want to get good at drawing this with your hand. And then you can start getting some blank staff space and just put some random notes in there and start naming them, at first using the answer key and then without using the answer key. And then what you can do, like I said in my other lesson, you can get a music book, and I would suggest for this maybe an easy piano book. And in a piano book, I don't have a lot of space, but you'll see something like this. You'll see 2 staves, right? And the top staff is going to be a treble clef, and the bottom staff is going to be a bass clef. And then you'll see a bracket like this. Okay, and that'll be, by the way, my next lesson on reading notes. We call this the grand staff, or the piano staff, basically the grand staff. And these are notes for the right hand, and these are notes for the left hand. So I can hear somebody saying, wait a minute. Are you telling me that when I play piano music, I have to read treble clef notes with my right hand and bass clef notes with my left hand at the same time? Yes, that's what you have to do. That's how you read piano music. So that's what we'll get into the next lesson. So anyways, you can get some easy piano books, and just read the bottom, the bass clef staff. You can write, you can pencil the names of the letters in, of the notes in, or just say them out loud. Even better, if you play them, that would help you even more. So this is, in a nutshell, the short version of how you can read notes in the bass clef. I do have a blog post on this on my website. Take a look in the video description for that, if you want to take a deeper look. Also, I'm going to place a link for some inexpensive quality staff paper on Amazon. Look for that at the bottom as well. If you have any questions or comments about any of this, feel free to ask me in the comment section below. Thank you for watching my video. My name is Florentin. This is my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for visiting. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, if it was useful for you. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate that. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. See you next time.